All right. This is my house. This is what I live in. I pay for a storage unit here. I've had to move over 50 times. Well, over 70 now. I've moved at least 100 times just here in town, but I don't care to call each of those a move because I'm moving from one parking lot to another. No place for me to go. The world just keeps getting a bit smaller. Less places I can go. More places I can't. It's all over Natalie Bollinger. And it's not all over her death. It was over her being strung out on heroin and wanting her family to love her. Same as I wanted my family to love me. But we don't all get that, do we? When did Natalie's family care about her? After she was dead. And not before then. I'm in Oregon now. When you ask me why I don't just move, it costs money to move. I'm disabled. I can't keep doing this. And the evidence that shows that I told the truth, there's a lot of it. But you know what? Cops decided to assault me, in specific, an officer named Waylon Lolatai, before they found Natalie's killer. But it wasn't just Waylon Lolatai. It was also at least half a dozen of the guards at the Boulder County Jail. Ever since Natalie's death, I've had to run around and do all the same things that I did before Natalie's death. People tell me to run around in circles. Why don't you go to mental health? Why don't you go to the cops? Why don't you go to your friends and family? Well, here's the thing, is that you all have to work together. And it starts with friends or family who don't give a shit. When you're called mentally ill, nobody fucking gives a shit. So I'm going to show you part of what I go through. It's all over Natalie, every bit of it, from one end of the country to the other. Not just about Natalie, but also about the felonies committed by police officers. And the fact that when they commit those felonies and they're able to make it your word versus theirs, despite the fact that there is overwhelming evidence that shows I told the truth, all they had to do was call me mentally ill and keep that evidence out of court. My own public pretenders, no public pretender is going to do a goddamn thing for you unless you're a mother of 6 who got busted selling meth again. In which case, that public pretender will trade 3 to 5 homeless people's lives to try to get you off with the prosecutor. It's fucked. The guy on the front of here is a fuckhead here in Tillamook, Oregon, by the name of Matthew D. Lyon. He's another one of them lying sacks of shit. What did my friends and family do? Well, before Natalie was killed, people were sending me to them, and I spoke up loud and proud about the reality of the situation. They're all too busy talking over me and telling me what to do, think, and feel. See, it didn't occur to them what it's really like when you are separated from all of your friends and family because somebody fucking lied. And who lied? Well, Natalie Bollinger, for starters, when she claimed that I stalked her to Virginia. The evidence shows otherwise. Now, none of y'all bothered to find out what happened or when. All you care about is that when I was abused, I fucking spoke up. How dare I? Now, those of you fuckheads peddling Donald Trump, I don't give a fuck about Trump. I don't give a fuck about Pence. I don't give a shit about any of them. I don't give a fuck about Biden either. The only time that Donald Trump was actually fucking important in this is in August of 2018. This is after they found Natalie's killer. It's also after I've had to deal with nearly 2 years of abuse over Natalie Bollinger. Hell of a thing, ain't it? What did I do? I threatened the life of President Donald Trump and any president who comes after him. Why did I do that? Because literally nothing else worked. Everybody talks over me. Everyone. All of these people who claim that they were going to help me, they were too busy talking over me, telling me to do the same shit, but giving me zero assistance with it. Tell me, oh, have you called this place? Have you called that place? Hey, I'll tell you the places I've called. I'll also tell you how those situations ended up and why. But you have to take the time to listen. And that doesn't generally happen when people are too busy talking. They're too busy with their opinions to hear any facts. That's not just sad. That fucks all of us. Every one of us. Meanwhile, prejudice against my gender, prejudice against disabled people, and of course, we got this prejudice against the homeless that we really have to push hard, don't we? The news media pushes it real hard too, don't they? I have problems walking because of assaults by police officers in specific. I can't carry stuff because of assaults by police officers and others, as well as a situation where I was moving all of my stuff out of my shop. Was moving an 800-pound gun lathe that I was converting over to make paragliders, or rather 1/5 scale, no monosopop engines, designed by Les Chenary of Great Britain. He passed away quite a few years ago, but his son still sells the plans. The things that I was doing before Natalie was killed, before me and Natalie became friends even, I was working on getting a shop. I got a shop outside of Boulder. Helping out a friend ended up getting me screwed. But instead of screwing him over back, I made sure that we hooked him up with all the stuff in there that he could use to have some sort of a future for himself. I don't give two shits about Donald Trump. I think he's a fucking moron just like everybody else who inherited their wealth. You ain't getting no $1 million loan from your daddy. Now, when I felt that the only thing that I could possibly do to get heard was to break the law, and it was desperate enough a situation because people's lives were ending, yeah, I'm more than proud to say that I broke the goddamn law. The police that I tried to turn in did everything that they could to help my predators to get away, even if that meant intentionally misleading the public, intentionally misleading the media, and of course, intentionally misleading the courts. See, that's the problem with the badge, is that these people know that the judge is going to be too lazy a goddamn piece of shit to give a fuck about evidence. It comes down to whoever is the best liar. And I go into court with the intention of telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Is that going to be allowed, though? No! No, because I have no representation in Congress for the mentally ill. No representation in Congress for the homeless. And there's absolutely no representation in Congress for men. Women have it easier than men in this country by a lot. A whole lot. When they don't get what they want, they can just pretend that a man might do something bad, and that's good enough, isn't it? Natalie Bollinger was strung out on drugs. I don't do drugs. I do smoke marijuana, and I wholeheartedly admit it. I smoke tobacco, and I wholeheartedly admit it. I drink caffeine. I wholeheartedly admit it. But I steer clear of alcohol. Over 50% of those murdered in the United States, alcohol was involved. Over 60% of murderers, alcohol was involved. So if you steer clear of alcohol, you've taken out a good majority of your chance of killing somebody else and a good majority of your chance of getting killed. Also, if you're sober, you're less likely to get killed by somebody who's drunk because you're fucking sober. You can sidestep faster than they can realize you moved. Smoking me out of a tobacco pipe here. Too broke to buy cigarettes. I'm still disabled. I still have to try to live on $800 a month disability money. And moving over and over and over again has just resulted in me wasting a lot of fucking time to make other people happy. When I speak about how wrong it is to kill people, my predators pretend like I'm threatening to kill them after they threaten to kill me. How cute is that? Kind of like punching somebody in the head 30 times, and when he punches you once back, you go, see, he's dangerous. The bullying from Natalie Bollinger and her friends, ex-boyfriends, and the like, before Natalie was killed, it was over a year of hell. Over a year of Natalie's friends bullying me every time I went to see my friends and family, resulting in social isolation. Yeah, I get that it sucks when you're in a relationship and you're arguing with that person. It also sucks being the person having to pay all the bills when you don't have enough money to do it. I've had to stay with alcoholics, drug addicts. I've had to move from one end of the country for empty promises. And I've shown every step of the way that my stories are true. There's a lot of people, like Brett Roloff, when he realized that the video, I came here to see my friend, or I came here for help, not to see my friend OD. That's what Brett Roloff, the guy I knew from Boulder, Colorado. He was living in Bristol, Virginia. I went to see him after Natalie was dead because he was going to help me. But he couldn't help me. Him and his girlfriend Amber were too busy getting fucked up on meth. Plus, she was kind of a super psycho stalker. Meanwhile, the evidence shows that Natalie Bollinger and her friends stalked me, not the other way around. The evidence shows that I was trying to get help, and you goddamn right I cursed. You know, it's one thing to troll people and harass them online. It's another thing to get a whole bunch of people to troll and harass somebody. A lot of the people who claimed to be my friends wanted to cite their fear of the police, their fear of the fact that the courts don't work, And a lot of them promised to help me, and they just didn't come through. So I recorded it. I had to. Because the police kept lying in court and on court documents. This is what is called systemic abuse or abuse of power. There is no statute of limitations. Officer Waylon Lolatai can be pursued anywhere within the continental United States. Hawaii, Samoa, that's American Samoa, and Alaska. So, also Puerto Rico. Now, these guys used and abused their power everywhere that I've gone. And that reputation follows you everywhere, because they were allowed to harm me, to try to frame me for the death of Natalie Bollinger. And when that didn't work, they just kept up the fucking felonies and kept me tied up in court and kept making every excuse why they couldn't investigate. Every excuse why they couldn't look at evidence. To this day, any of these agencies that I go to just talk over me, while officers try to have me diagnosed as schizophrenic. And that right there is my saving grace through all of this. What is it that police officers were trying to hide so badly that they were willing to commit felonies? Good question. Their felonies are on paper. Jared Hahn of Chapel, Nebraska, Detective Peterson and Detective Jai Rogers of Adams County. We also got Officer Waylon Lolatai, Officer Herr, and Officer Vanderleest of Boulder, Colorado. Although there was about 15 officers altogether that were involved just in the month after Natalie disappeared. And then there's the two media outlets, Heavy D, Jennifer Dejowski, who was completely full of shit. And there was Mike Boudet. Tell you what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to pull up a video from here in Oregon to show you what I'm going through. You're going to love this. And there's a lot of this stuff on my channel. I'm going to scroll back just so you can see this bastard. He thought it was okay to be a bully. Thought it was okay to assault me repeatedly. His name is Andrew Wolnez. He lives here in Tillamook. And I try to keep my neighborhood safe. I try to keep the people in my neighborhood safe. But also I have to be able to identify the predators in order to do that. Let's see, where's it at? Is this it? That ain't it.
Yeah, I'm choking to death on a cigarette. Had two more interactions with Wolnez today.
Oh shit, fucked it up already. My most sincere apologies for that. I am not perfect. Took me directly to a live stream, but now I have to scroll through to get back to the one I was looking at, and it's going to take a while. Here's something y'all might not know. It's a hate crime to go after a child molester or a rapist. Did you know that? But it's not a hate crime to treat somebody who is not a child molester or a rapist like they're a child molester or a rapist. If you do it to a homeless person, it's even okay to assault them. Let's see, I think it was about...
Yeah. Whether the city cares enough about human beings who are homeless, let there be actual toilets, right? Oh, well, we can't have the toilets because there's junkies. Well, then we need to what? What solution do we have for this? The solution that we have come up with so far, the only one that is feasible to try to appease everyone, is for the government to just kill all the hobos.
Yeah, that's literally the only one that's feasible out of all of the ones that government officials come up with. This includes Donald Trump, just so you know, and Joe Biden. Neither one of them have come up with a decent fix for any of this. But there is an easy fix. Land. My disability money, my back payments for my disability money, should have been used to help me, to set me up in a place where I could protect myself, and I could use that money to try to better my life and my situation. But instead, I had to spend it all going from mental health to mental health to mental health, to moving to another place, to another place, to another place, going to court date after court date after court date. While having to go back to my predators to turn them into themselves. I had to turn in Officer Schneider to Officer Schneider in Tacoma. I had to turn in Sheriff Scott DaCosta to Scott DaCosta in Nebraska. What did these situations result in? What about having to turn in Officer Burke to Officer Burke and Amanda Jonas to Amanda Jonas? These all resulted in me being locked up. How about having to turn in Officer Cody Selhorst and Officer Jared Hahn to themselves? Resulted in me being locked up. When I did what the mental health people told me to, the cops told me I did it wrong. When I did what the cops told me to do, mental health told me I did it wrong. Mental health says it's the cop's job. The cops say that it's mental health's job. And meanwhile, I get to deal with dipshits like this.
Isn't that horrible? There is no cure for the disgusting inhumanity of humans in houses towards those on the streets. Now you get to see how much kindness there really is. There are a shit ton of kind people in this town. There's a lot of very nice people. Oh, there's one that's walking my way.
Now you might have noticed, while he was kicking my door on the side, I did not pull forward. I wasn't going to have him kick my vehicle, twist his ankle as I'm pulling out, and say I tried to run him over. As soon as he went around to the back of my vehicle, I relocated. And what happened when I relocated?
You haven't noticed. God damn, here he is again. Stop hitting my vehicle! Stop hitting my vehicle! Stop hitting my vehicle! Stop hitting my vehicle! Stop hitting my
Oh, he's
vehicle!
not done, I guess.
Stop hitting my vehicle!
Yep, and that was on November 5th, and I've encountered him over a dozen times since then. Last time I saw him was the day before Thanksgiving. He and I got into a physical altercation, and for the first time out of the at least 24 situations altogether with him, I finally friggin' fought back. Very little, because I don't have the energy. And that one, he's just kicking my car. You see the side of my car, the back of it too. So, this is for you, Benjamin. This happens everywhere I go. You should see the shit with the cops. It's even worse. Of course, as a homeless man, you can't go to the hospital without getting treated like a junkie. You can't go to the police without getting treated like a junkie. They don't give a fuck about you as a human being. They're not going to investigate a goddamn thing. And that was a problem both before and after Natalie's death. You people don't give a fuck about us. So the cops aren't going to give a fuck. If I was a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed tweenie, yeah, them fucking pigs would give two shits. Because you would give two shits. Comes down to, do you give a shit? Well, if it's something with a dick, no, you don't care. What's the problem with men and men's rights right now? Well, we're constantly taught that our job is to protect women and children. Women don't protect us, now do they? No. And every time one of them does something wrong, we get the, us girls gotta stick together. Holy shit. Well, if that's the way it's gonna be. Next time you get your ass whooped because you were a fucking idiot and wanted to date somebody who was good looking but had options, maybe you should have thought about that before going fucking psycho on him. There's a lot of people pissed off at me because I stand up for my rights, but nobody else is. I don't have a friend or family member to actually sit down and go through any of the evidence with me. I don't have anybody who cares. I got lots of people that want to tell me, oh, why don't you move somewhere else? Motherfucker, are you going to pay for it? Huh? Or how about the bank account thing? Are you going to help me to get a bank account? Are you going to help me to sort through my evidence? Are you going to help me clean out my car? There's a lot of things that I'm not able to do for myself. And these police and the Bollingers have capitalized on that. Antagonizing me, lying about me, oh, and lying to me as well. And they all got busted. Meanwhile, the police won't take a look. Nobody will. What does it take for me to get heard? Obviously, telling the truth doesn't work. Obviously, trying to go to the police doesn't work. Asking my predators to stop doesn't work. Going to a trusted adult doesn't work. And before you want to go, oh, well, you know, you're a grown-ass adult. You know what? That doesn't change the fact that the term mentally ill is used to kill me and my people out here. When they call you mentally ill, what they're saying is that you are a retarded child who is expected to do things that grown-ass adults in houses can do. They're just going to treat you like you're mentally fucking retarded in court until it comes time to hold you responsible for having to fucking defend yourself. Oh yeah, and you're not going to be allowed to show evidence because you have to rely on a public fucking pretender and they are useless as tits on a goddamn boar.